Robbie Buhl. This should be easy for you because you're the television guy, right?
Oh yeah, it's real easy.
So, what's your official role?
You even got a script.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, and look, you gotta stay over there, and I'll stay over here.
Okay, I'll stay back.
Your official role, Dry Rhine Bull Racing.
Official role.
Official role.
There's no one official role.
Official title.
Co-owner with Dennis. Co-owner.
Okay, and your official role is basically you cover all gamuts because of your your ability through marketing and being a driver and all that. You kind of can be a coach all the way through.
You know, as we've grown our team over the last 10 years, I mean, you know, and we're still in that mode of growing. You wear whatever hat you have to wear to get something done. And when I first stopped driving and kind of took on the ownership role full time, it was really hard because you knew a little bit about the driving, you knew a little about the engineers, so you tried to spend some time with the drivers, and then obviously the marketing and corporate side, you know, I've been on part of that, so it was actually a horrible experience of just trying to figure out where you do spend your time and try and be efficient with it and productive. And for a while there, it was, you know, none of it felt productive.
But now it expands all the way over into television. Now you're learning from that side of the business as well.
Yeah, and we've evolved more now with our race team and what our roles are as we grow. I mean, in terms of Dennis, Reinhold, and myself, we've learned what's the strengths and weaknesses of our different personalities and how we manage that. And for the most part, that's all. It works out pretty well. So in terms of how I channel my energies with driving our team from a corporate standpoint, from a partner standpoint. That's a big part of it, and you know, with Larry Curry in charge of the performance of the race team and Gary Neal, I mean, you know, I'm not looking over those guys' shoulders. They know their job. I don't mess with them. I stay on the one side. So that's evolved.
Well, and a minute ago, you just mentioned about racing, and you talked about your driving. You talked about what is your background in racing?
My background.
Yeah, I mean, where'd you start? How old were you when you started? Did you start in go-karts?
We may lose some people on that.
Well, make it brief. Give me the beginning and
you know, like a lot of guys that end up here at the Speedway. I first came to the Speedway when I was 7 years old. You know, my dad took me here, and I fell in love with it. Plain and simple, that's all I wanted to do. Then raced go-karts, motorcycles, and you know, worked my way up the racing ranks. I went away to school to Europe for a while, and I came back and I told my dad that I wanted to race cars full time, and I needed some money to try and do that. And he said, "That's great. Where are you going to get the money?" And went back to school, got my degree, and eventually, you know, bought it was actually at the time called a Sports Renault, which was for $9,000, had a spec race car that I put together, and I hired a mechanic. I didn't know the first thing about camber, caster, what sway bars did, so I hired a mechanic, and I talked in a couple other guys that were racing amateur, semi-pro at that time. I said, "Let me maintain your car," and I managed that for them, and then from there just kind of set goals each year, saying, "Hey, I want to get to this level, that level," and eventually to Indy cars. That's the short version.
That's the short version.
And there's love and hate that goes along with those years.
Well, then tell me about your family. Tell me about your professional side. Tell me about your family.
My professional side.
Well, we already talked about your racing side. Let's talk.
My family. Yeah, I'm married. Have a couple girls.
Do you?
They occasionally make it to the racetrack.
How old are the girls?
My girls are 15 and 7.
So you're getting in the treacherous age. I got a 14-year-old.
Yeah, my 15-year-old is just as happy that I'm not at home, and it works better that way. So, but hopefully she'll come back. You know, they say, when I say come back, in terms of come back to say, "Hey, you know, Mom and Dad, they're okay. This is a good thing that they want to take my friends and me out for dinner or whatever."
Did she ask you yet if she could have a boyfriend?
Oh, she right now she's going out with you know, a senior, which is a real problem. She's a freshman. But if I
if I
get in the middle of that, it's a problem. So you know, it's part of life, and it's great.
That's why she's glad you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what's your favorite racetrack?
Favorite racetrack? For an oval, although I never won there, but I love going out there, is
Phoenix.
Yeah. You know, that was just a tough place, challenging. You know, it was great to be out there when the sun's going down and banging out laps. I love that track, and the challenges of it. From road courses, I have to say Road America. Up in Wisconsin, I spent a lot of time up there working for Skip Barber. And, you know, when you're up there in the fall and work and you get to the track in the morning, you're first one there to go out on at the time they had a contract with BMW, go out and do a couple laps, kind of blow the leaves away. So good memories of Road America.
Least favorite track?
Least favorite track? Nazareth was I liked Nazareth. I won a couple races at Nazareth. That's no longer.
The favorite ones are easy.
Huh?
The favorite ones are
yeah,
easy.
Track that. Well, there's, you know, I said Phoenix was my favorite track, but I crashed there a couple times too, so I didn't like it. But Flat Out, worst track.
One you just didn't want to go to, for whatever reason, because of the area. Or
well, I went and raced in Bogota, Colombia. It was the 6 hours of Bogota. And when I went out and did some practice laps, there was a guy with a weed whacker right at the track out point. And I thought when I went on the track that he'd probably get out of there. Well, he was just down every lap I come by, he just kept mowing his grass like 2 feet down right there. So it was a little different world. But I liked the experience that it was a funky track. I got to think of what track, you know, every track, you know, it's got a unique characteristic when you go to, whether it's, you know, like Grattan Speedway in Michigan or Black Hawk Farms, or like little Waterford Hills racetrack. There's all plus and minuses.
And they all have good hotels, though.
Yeah, yeah, they all do.
Okay, most cherished racing moment.
Most cherished racing moment.
Memorable.
Qualifying for my first 500, probably. You know, just trying to think, wow, it's real, it happened, I did it. You know, but what we all know is once you get to that point, the goalposts always shift. But you know, that was pretty memorable. Of what I do remember from getting my head hit so much, I do remember a couple good things.
Well, it's funny because Dennis Reinbold mentioned when they put the team together and the first race out, boom, they won. And weren't you part of that?
I was the driver. You bet.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, that was a great memory and a great part of our transition. You know, and any time to win at the level of IndyCar racing, you know, that's a good accomplishment. But you know, what sticks out more is just the build-up and the feelings of finally making the 500. Because I actually was here 2 years prior to the year I made it, stuffed it into turn 2, and never got a chance to qualify. So
I knew that you were the winner, the guy that was driving that race that won, and
yeah.
I just went.
So what did he say?
He said that race.
Oh, he did?
That you won.
Okay.
Yeah?
So I have good memories for him.
Who's your idol in racing?
My idol in racing. Well, you know, as a kid growing up and listening to Speedway, obviously the name, you know, AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti. You know, as I grew more in the sport, and spent more time here at the Speedway, I really gained a lot of respect for Rick Mears and what he did at this racetrack, and just his very casual, approachable personality. So, you know, just his pretty easygoing demeanor, and he's also the first guy that took me some laps around here in a Corvette, which I remember pretty clearly.
Yeah, he's a big fan. I'm a big fan of his as
Yeah,
well. But
yeah, good guy.
I know that you don't really know me that well, so I won't ask you the last question. But I've been asking everybody else, what about me drives you nuts? You know, so I haven't quite. There's no way that anything that
no,
I
you and I haven't spent enough time
exactly.
together yet. But we got rainy days like this, and you know, talking like this, then I probably could develop those.
Having to do a video interview and a rainy day at the Speedway is what drives you nuts about me right now.
Well, no, because you know what, we got some time, so I'm okay with it.
Well, I appreciate you having me as part of your race team, and I look forward to a great month.
We look forward to having you, and we will have, you know, we'll have our challenges, but it will be a good month.
Thank you.